Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my initial comparison between the Nike Zoom GT Cut 1.0 or just the Zoom GT Cut, and also of course the Nike Zoom GT Cut 2.0. It says 2.0 right here on the medial side, and also here on the first one it just says 1. So the Zoom GT Cut retails for, or was retailing for 170 bucks, but we can never really get this shoe ever. And then I'm guessing the Zoom GT Cut 2.0 is gonna be the same price, but I did the kind of like the conversion of like Asian currencies, like the Vietnamese currency to the US, and it was like $213, which is a huge price difference. That's like $40 increase, so I don't think Nike would do that. Maybe they would increase the price by $10, but that's the most I've ever seen. So it'll probably be around 170, 180 bucks for the 2.0. But anyways, let's get it started off with the Tracciones and the Zoom GT Cut. The first one was absolutely amazing. It was a top tier traction. In this colorway, it's like a semi-translucent outsole, right? Or semi-translucent rubber. And yeah, it was just an amazing bite. Bit really well on a clean court and bit through dust very well too. You picked up a little bit of dust, but it was a very easy wipe, right? Here in the 2.0s, it still seems like it has a nice bite, but not as good as the first iteration right now on my wood floors, which definitely does suck. Oh, they're calling this the Smear Traction 1.0, as you guys can see. I don't know if you guys can see it says right here, right? But yeah, as far as the durability goes, I feel like, I don't know. The first one was like, the rubber is pretty hard and it seemed like it was gonna be pretty good. And then here in the 2.0, this red part seems really good. Like this rubber is very deep, right? And it's just like, I don't think I've ever seen anything so deep. And then, but I guess like these little nubs here in the heel and the forefoot definitely do worry me for durability. So maybe the first one, it would be a little bit better. Just from my first impressions, like just trying it on my wood floors, the first one seems a little bit better. All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition. So here in the first one, I didn't really, I mean, it wasn't bad, but I'm just nitpicking, right? Because this is a comparison, and yeah, look at this, like super cage. There's really no midsole, right? Like look at all this plastic and stuff. So there's kind of a clunker here in the heel, just a tiny bit, especially when you're doing heel dominant strides, right? It definitely did help that there was a rounded shape here in the heel though, so it wasn't terrible, but it still felt a little clunky here in the heel. And then here in the forefoot, nice curve shape and a lot of forefoot flex. So, but as you guys can see here in the 2.0, there is exposed foam, so it doesn't feel as clunky, right? There's a little bit of compression from this. I mean, it's mostly a pretty stiff foam though. But we also have a nice, you know, curved shape here in the heel, nice curved shape here in the forefoot, and a lot of forefoot flex. So overall, it feels very similar, but the 2.0 feels a little bit better here in the heel. As far as the cushioning setup goes, so the cushioning setup on paper is like pretty much the exact same, right? It's a little bit different as far as like the heel zoom unit goes, but you know, both of these shoes have a drop-in react, full length drop-in react actually. And look at that, you know, but they are actually different, right? So if you take a look at kind of like the details of both of them, so the first thing is, as you guys can see, the lining is very different, right? So here in the 2.0, we have this white lining, and I don't like this as much just because, you know, to put it here, they have to glue it, right? So that's the first thing, right? Step in comfort, the first shoe, the first Zoom GT Cut feels a lot better because you can feel the react underneath your foot a lot easier, and also this react kind of like texture, especially here in the forefoot. Look at that, right? That texture that you have, it grips your sock really well, which I like, right? And it doesn't grip as well with this like felt material, and also because of the glue, it doesn't feel as soft for step and comfort. I mean, it's still soft, right? Especially comparing it to like stiff strobo boards, but it's just not as soft as the first one. So that's definitely something I like about the first one more, right? They're both like, I would say around the same thickness as far as the react midsole goes. But one thing that's different is we have the hexagonal zoom unit here in the heel, and it's bottom loaded into the drop-in midsole, which does feel nice, right? So in the first shoe, we have a larger zoom unit, right? But it is bottom loaded. So it's like you have full length zoom strobel, right? And then you bottom load another zoom unit. So I couldn't really feel the extra compression or bounce from the actual zoom unit. I just felt the zoom strobel unit underneath my foot, right? But also the biggest difference to me is the core feel. The Zoom GT Cut, like the original one, was like a pretty good core feel. I wouldn't say it's amazing like the Harden Volume 6 or the 282 or whatever, but it's a pretty good core feel, right? But here in the 2.0, it feels a little bit higher up off the ground, which I don't like. And I definitely don't think it's the React, because the React drop-in midsoles are like the same thickness, it feels like. Of course, both of these shoes have like full-length Zoom strobo units, but also another difference is that the Zoom GT Cut 1.0, you can definitely see the Zoom strobo unit. It's like exposed, but here in the 2.0, we have a cloth over it. Just a little bit of a difference there. But I'm guessing the 2.0 is a little bit higher up off the ground because of this extra foam. That's what I'm guessing, right? Maybe that's it, I don't know. But the core feel definitely feels a lot better here in the 1. So overall, I feel like I like the cushioning setup in the 1 a tiny bit better, but there's also some things I like about the 2.0 a little bit better as well. I mean, like I said, this foam compressing a little bit more, and also the hexagonal zoom unit here, right? But you know, I do like the lining here, right? Or I guess like lack thereof. And I like the grip and also the step and comfort better here. And also the core feel better here in the original Zoom GT Cut. So there is the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the materials. So that definitely is a downgrade here in the 2.0s, right? So we have screen mesh and it feels so much cheaper, especially in hand, right? Compared to the first one. But I guess if you want more of a minimal feeling material, then the 2.0 is a lot thinner, right? Super thin for the 2.0s. The 1.0, especially here in the toe box, there's like this kind of feels like a foam insert a little bit. It makes it a little bit thicker. It's not anywhere like bulky or anything, but definitely is thicker than the 2.0s. And then for the tongue, I would actually say the 2.0 also has more padding, so that definitely feels better as well. And then here in the ankle area, it's around the same as far as the padding goes. So in my personal opinion, I definitely do like thinner materials better. And also like the 1.0 was a super supportive material, but also the 2.0 feels like very supportive too. There's no stretch to the screen mesh. So yeah, I like thinner materials better, and also I like the cozier tongue in the 2.0. So on foot, I like the 2.0s a little bit better. But the 1.0 just like has better quality to it, right? As far as the fit goes, it's pretty much the exact same fit. I went true to size for both of these shoes and they're both very snug, right? So my toes go pretty much right to the edge of both of the shoes. Although I would say the 2.0 is a little bit more snug, just a tiny bit more snug lengthwise. Here in the toe box, they're both very snug fits, and also width-wise, they're slightly narrow. So they both fit me very well, and I like the fits in both of them. Alright, as far as the support and lockdown goes, also, I mean, the 1.0 was amazing. Look at all the lateral counters, right? This plastic, the swoosh, we have the foam coming up, we have an internal TPU heel counter, so lateral containment was absolutely amazing. And also the 2.0, I feel like it's gonna be good too. You know, the screen mesh feels very supportive. Although, I mean, there's no lateral counters, which is kind of a bummer, but like I said, I feel like the material will be enough. And then here in the heel, and also I guess like more in the midfoot, we have the foam coming up and this plastic, so lateral containment feels like it's gonna be good. And also that definitely is a plus for a drop-in midsole, right? So here in the first shoe, the drop-in midsole actually, like, there's no sidewall, or there's a very small sidewall here in the forefoot, right? You don't really need all too much just because we have this crazy plastic, but yeah, I mean, also here in the midfoot and here in the heel, we can see that comes up to act as a sidewall, which is very good. But here in the 2.0, we can see that there is a little bit more of a sidewall here in the 2.0, right? In the forefoot, and it just like extends all the way here from like the entire length of the shoe. So yeah, I mean, that definitely is a plus of having a drop-in midsole as well. As far as the width goes, they're probably the same. Yeah, they're the same. So the lateral stability feels like it's gonna be good as well. All right, moving on to the weight of the shoe, I feel like the 2.0 feels like it's a little bit lighter in hand, maybe just a tiny bit. Yeah, so 12.5 ounces for the 2.0. The 1.0 is gonna be like 13. Yeah, 13.2 ounces. So like, you know, 0.7 ounces heavier. Not a crazy amount of weight, but that definitely is a good amount of weight. But like, it's not very noticeable on foot for some reason. Like the 2.0 actually feels a little bulky and a little heavy, especially underneath your foot. Like it feels very bottom heavy, right? As opposed to the 1.0, which feels a little bit more balanced, right? And maybe it's because like the material isn't like the thinnest material, right? Maybe that's it, I don't know. But on foot, I just feel like I like the 1.0 a little bit better just because I like to have a more balanced weight, you know, from like the top of the shoe to the bottom to the front to the back of the shoe a little bit, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, the 1.0 definitely feels a little bit better on foot, and I do like the better core feel as well. I definitely feel like that's something that I notice a lot, right? So there's that. As far as the aesthetics go, yeah, definitely 100% the 1.0. The 1.0 looks amazing. The colorways that came out was amazing as well. The 2.0 kind of just looks like a running shoe, you know what I mean? It's not ugly or anything, it's not terrible, but definitely the 1.0 looks better. So tell us what you guys think looks better down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, from my first like initial comparison and first impressions, the Zoom GT Cut 1.0 feels like a lot better than the 2.0. I like the cushioning setup better, the traction seems better, the materials I guess aren't that much better, but I like the overall feeling of the shoe on foot better in the 1.0 as far as like weight distribution goes as well. So because of those reasons, I like the 1.0 better. Of course, the 2.0 can still redeem itself. You know, I still need to play in them, and the full performance review will be coming soon. But just from my initial comparison, I like the 1.0 better. So anyways, that about concludes this video. I hope this video helped you guys out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.